Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Mordy and Glory video. Today guys, we are going to be taking a look at the Leman Russ and how it has improved in the new codex and my first impressions of this venerable guard unit. So the Leman Russ in the new guard codex has had a big glow up. It was already a fantastic unit for the guard, but you normally only really saw tank commanders because the regular Leman Russ just wasn't quite as good thanks to the fact that it only had ballistic skill 4+. But now the new Leman Russ has got a whole host of new rules and updates, and overall guys, it is a fantastic unit. If you go no further in this video, what I can tell you is that the Russ is going to be an A tier unit in the guard codex. So what makes this venerable workhorse unit of the guard suddenly so good? Firstly, it has got an updated profile. It is now confirmed that it's going to keep its 2+ save from the balanced data slate. It's also remaining at toughness 8, which is fantastic, but it's also gaining an extra wound, which means that you're going to have 13 wound Leman Russes. Now, let me tell you, I've been rocking around the game since 8th edition with 12 wound Leman Russes, and since they got that 2+ save, they were already very tough, and when they got Armor of Contempt on top of that, they became insanely tough. Now I'm getting an extra wound as well. That makes a huge difference. Now you might think, how does one extra wound make such a difference? How does going from 12 to 13 make such a difference? It makes a big difference because it means that if anyone is shooting you with a multiple damage weapon, more often than not, they're going to have to get an extra wound through to kill you, an extra failed save through. Think about it. If you're getting hit by damage 2 weapons, then they have to get 6 of those through to kill you currently. But now they're going to have to get 7 of them through to kill your 13 wound Russ. Think about it if they're hitting you with a damage 3 weapon. It's the same thing. Normally they don't have to get 4 through. Now they're going to have to get 5 of those wounds through, of those damage 3 wounds through, in order to be able to kill your Leman Russ. So it means overall that against many multi-damage weapons, they're going to need to get an extra single failed save through in order to knock you down, which is a big deal when you're dealing with a unit that is as tough as the Russ. Toughness 8, armor save 2+. And they might be keeping Armor Contempt as well. Even if they don't keep Armor Contempt, GW has given most guard vehicles an upgrade called Armored Tracks. These replace the current track guards. And what they do is they give you +1 save against damage 1 weapons. So even if we lose Armor Contempt, we've still got some way of getting these guys to have an even better than a 2-up save. And talking about durability, let's just keep on the durability hype train, guys. I was going to keep this a short segment, but let's just keep it going. You have multiple ways of being able to give your Leman Russ invulnerable saves now. You can give them an invulnerable save using the tank ace traits, and you can also give them an invulnerable save with the Tech Priest Engine Seer. That is right, a Tech Priest Engine Seer can take a stern look at a Leman Russ in the command phase and go, you can have a 5+ invulnerable save. So even if we lose Armor of Contempt, we've still got even more ways of making the Russ tough. And that is the name of the game in the Russ. It is a tough cookie, and it puts out good firepower as well. So let's take a look at what firepower this bad boy can do. So previously, you only really saw tank commanders. And the reason you only saw tank commanders was because they had ballistic skill 3+. And to be honest, ballistic skill 3+ is what separated the men from the boys in the guard codex. If it was a unit that had ballistic skill 3+, it was a damage dealer. If it was a unit that had ballistic skill 4+, it was cannon fodder. That was basically the defining line in the codex. And so at first, there was a lot of concern for the Leman Russ because it was being told that, you know, in the rumor mill that every Russ was only getting ballistic skill 4+, and everyone thought, oh, that's terrible. Russ's and tank commands are going to be awful now. But GW did the old bait and switch. You see, all Leman Russes, and whether it's a tank commander or not, maybe they only had a 4+, but they all get +1 to hit with the turret weapon, which is massive, because actually it means on the main weapon for the Russ, the main weapon being the main reason you're taking it, you're hitting on ballistic skill 3+ now. So the main thing that was making tank commanders worthwhile has now actually been given out to all of your Leman Russes because they're all hitting on 3. So not only is it tough, now every Leman Russ has the firepower of a tank commander. That is insane, guys. It's super, super powerful. Trust me, I've used these things in several tester games now, both on battle reports and not, and every single time my Russes have been the MVPs of the game. They've been doing a fantastic job of tanking shots, I know, pun intended, and also dishing out the hurt. Now, getting +1 to hit on the old turret weapons would have been good enough, but we're getting a whole suite of brand new profiles for all of your favorite Russ weapons. The Vanquisher Cannon, it's now as good, if not better than a railgun on the Tau Hammerhead. That's right, your Vanquisher is going to be ignoring them invulnerable saves. The Leman Exterminator finally has Strength 8 and AP 2 as well. So not only is it putting out a really reliable number of shots, it's also consistently doing damage. All of the Russes have got, they have lost grinding advance, which means you no longer double shoot, which I know a lot of people are going to be going, boo, the Russ is dead, boo. Trust me, it's not. The Russ now has a really reliable weapon profile. Pretty much every weapon that is random shot is D6 plus 3, which means on average, you're doing about 7 shots per weapon. Now, you might say to me, but Morning Glory, I was doing an average of 7 last time in the last codex. And now I used to be able to get, that easily up to 8 or 9 average with like gunnery experts. What are you telling me? You're asking me to be grateful for that I think is a downgrade. It's not a downgrade, trust me, because you're getting the same average number of shots. Sure, your ceiling isn't as high. The max shots you're going to get on a battle cannon, for example, is 9. But your ceiling also isn't as low. No longer will you get double ones. No longer. Now you are getting an average of 7 every single time. And even if you mess up the dice and you roll a 1, you're still getting 4 shots. So it still makes the Russ really, really reliable. And something in my mind, what makes a unit A tier is consistency, is reliability. Can you count on that thing doing what it's meant to do every single turn? It's not a wacky waving flailing tube man of a unit. It's actually consistent and it's solid as a rock. So that, I think, is a really big strength of the new weapon profiles. Another big strength is they've all got much better. So, for example, a regular battle cannon now does a flat 3 damage. So, you know how previously everyone was taking Cadium because of Gatekeeper? Well, now imagine every battle cannon is Gatekeeper and the Relic, Gatekeeper, just got even better. That's right. So overall, the Russes have had a big improvement on their profile of their guns, and now they're all hitting like tank commanders. So the firepower they can put out is just incredible. Now, I know some of you are going to be thinking about tank commanders. Are they? I've not been giving them a good rep in this video. Tank commanders are still absolutely mandatory. You just don't need them for the same reasons you needed them before. You don't need them for their easy access Blitzskill 3+ anymore. No, you can do that with your regular Russes. The main reason you're taking tank commanders now is because you need them for things like secondaries and for tank orders. So if we're keeping Inflexible Command the way it is at the moment, you still need your tank commander because you need to be able to score them secondary points. But the main reason you're going to take them is for the tank orders. Now, firstly, tank orders now splash out to other Leman Russes, which is great. No longer are you just limited to having the tank commander ordering himself. He's now ordering himself and everyone around him, which is great. So that's the first thing. Second thing to mention is that the tank orders are all actually really, really good. You've got Gunner's Kill on sight, keep them, real ones to hit. That's fantastic. Staple of the Guard Codex and it's remaining. You've now got Pound them into dust, which means that blast weapons get much more effective as well, which is great. One of the ones the two that I found really effective though is Full Throttle. Because Full Throttle now gives you an extra 2 inch to your movement and you can advance and count stationary, which means your Russes are becoming highly, highly mobile. Now we're going to come back to that mobility in just a second. Another order that I said I thought was really useful was Shock and Awe. Shock and Awe allows you to give your Leman Russes OBSEC without them having to be in a spearhead detachment. Now, as far as I can tell, that whole Leman Russ in a spearhead detachment gain OBSEC thing has gone from the new codex, but you still have a way of making your vehicles objective secured, which is really, really nice because I can't tell you the number of times that an OBSEC Leman Russ has caught someone out. It does make a big, big difference. So overall, the tank commanders are still absolutely viable for your secondaries, and all of the tank orders are really, really good. Now, I mentioned mobility a moment ago. Russes are fast. I have to say that again. Russes are, cover your children's ears, fucking fast. All right? They are really, really, really speedy. Now, maybe it's just because I've been having to trundle my Russes around at half speed to gain grinding advance. And grinding advance doesn't exist anymore. So it's felt like my Russes have only been able to go like 5 inches a turn for basically 5 years. But that grinding advance is gone now. And so you don't need to worry about moving, 5 inches a turn. You can go 10 inches a turn. And so if you combine that with things like Swift as the Wind, which is a regiment trait that gives your infantry +1 to move, but your vehicles +2, that means you've got a Russ going 12 inches a turn. And then if you use Full Throttle on them, they gain another +2 inches and they can advance D6 and still shoot. So actually you're going an average of something like 18 inches a turn with a Russ. Now that is massive. If you want to see this in action, by the way, I'm going to have a battle report linked at the end of this episode where I did this exact thing. I took Swift of the Wind and I was full throttling and I was being really speedy, okay? The reason that's so important is it means that you can get the angles on your opponent. You know, in competitive 40k these days, there's so much landside blocking terrain, it can make it really difficult to get the angles that you need. But a Russ shooting at the board, going 18 inches, and then hitting someone in the flank with a ballistic skill 3+ turret is massive. It makes a huge, huge difference. So the maneuverability of the Russes, it also increases their firepower because they're actually getting on targets they want to get on, and you don't need to be so worried about them so much anymore because they're durable, man. And even if the enemy ties them up, don't worry, turret weapon allows you to shoot your turret weapon out of combat as well. That's what the turret weapon special rule does, extra ballistic skill, and you can't even tie this bad boy up. So it means that your Russes can be highly aggressive, highly mobile, and remain highly effective. So overall, they are an A-tier unit in my book. They're fast, and one last thing I want to mention about this, I've mentioned it a few times in my videos before, but games of 40k are won and lost in the movement phase. Movement is the most important thing in 40k. It allows you to do objectives, allows you to get angles, allows you to mess with your opponent, and if you can move block your opponent, it's one of the things that can easily win you the game. So having Russes as being so mobile really, really increases how effective they are. It cannot be overstated. So overall, the Russ is an A-tier unit and has got even better with the new codex because it's more durable, it's got more firepower, and you're not relying on tank commands as much, and they are faster than they've ever been before. So overall, that is my first impressions of the Leman Russ. I give it an A-tier rating. It has a glowing recommendation. The Russ is going to be a staple of many guard armies to come in 9th edition, and I'm sure into 10th edition as well. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section below. Are you feeling the hots for the Russes, or do you think maybe the Rogel Dawn might come along and wiggle its bum at you and tempt you away? For me personally, I like the Rogel Dawn because it's a new model, but I think the Russ might actually be better on the tabletop. Much more spammable because it still gets vehicle squadrons, unlike the Rogel Dawn. But you guys, let me know what you think down in that comment section. If you've enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more of these first impression videos and much more content that I do, make sure you smash that subscribe button like it's a big titty sororitas girlfriend to never miss an episode. If you really enjoyed today's video and you want to go the extra mile when it comes to supporting the channel, then please consider becoming a channel member or Patreon supporter. One of the big bonuses you get for being a channel member or Patreon is you gain access to the Mordy and Glory Discord server. And that is a really, really active community. We've got almost 600 active people in there. Those are people which are commenting and getting involved on a weekly basis at least. There's always someone to talk to and chat with. If you like painting, there's someone to talk to about it. If you like tactics, memes, all that kind of good stuff, it's a really active, popular community. So if that sounds like somewhere that you want to get involved in, then please consider becoming a channel member or Patreon supporter. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you to all of the latest channel members. So big thank you to Nick Schaefer, Mark T, Matthew K, Zidok, Cedar Tortoise, BSSP Wolfen, Adam, I Sivia, Lewis Cleveland, Lucas, James Roberts, Matt Small, and It's for My. Big thank you to all of you guys for doing your part, and thank you for becoming a channel member. I also want to say a big thank you and do a shout out to all the newest Patreon supporters. So thank you to Odd Simon, Ben Coral, Yiko, Eric H, Lewis Cleveland, Hassan, Andrew, Anthony, and Robert Wilson. Thank you guys for being Patreon supporters. I really appreciate your ongoing support. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a special thank you to all of my top tier Patreon supporters. These are the War Masters. These are people that have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to supporting the Mordy and Glory channel. So a massive thank you to Bon Vert, Navy Veteran, Phil French, Ross Miller, Tequal, John Stubbs, Nicholas Walsh, Swordfish Trombone, Diesel Fox, Tom Sutton, and of course, August Varney. Massive thank you to all of you guys. I know I say it every video, but it doesn't mean I mean it any less. Your ongoing support makes a huge, huge difference. So thank you so much. And a big 07 down in the comment section for these guys because their generosity truly is life-changing. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching. And of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.